Andrew and I were wide awake before dawn on our first morning in Jerusalem. We were in town for a conference, and after a quick cab ride in the dark, we were dropped off at the Jaffa Gate. We were hurrying into the old city at the same time students were rushing to the Western Wall, Talmud in hand, fringe from their talit and long curls flying. Standing on the wall of Old Jerusalem, we watched the sun rise. A tremulous pool of gold at first, and then long rays from over the Mount of Olives. The sun rose exactly where Jesus had ascended and where many believe he will return. And we stood face to the light, praying for more light. We stood wondering like thousands before us when Emmanuel would return in the flesh. After the sunrise, we walked toward the Western Wall, staying at a respectful distance. I wore sandals and the stone was cool on my feet. And in front of us, rabbis sat at tables or groups of chairs with their students, singing, praying, some whispering, some loud. A beautiful cacophony. They wrapped and unwrapped the black straps of the tefillin, literally binding the words of Scripture on their forehead and arms. Huge scrolls were pulled out on large podiums, and the Scripture rang out from loudspeakers which had to be wheeled in and out. Their singing was haunting, more a cry than a song. But in counterpoint to the minor tone, young boys ran from rabbi to rabbi, and the rabbi would dip his hand into his bag, pull out a piece of candy, and the boy would skip away. That was the summer I was holding a fear so tender I could only whisper it in the dark. Yet I was sick with it. I'd wake up in the night to run bath water and sit in the warmth and let the tears fall. A few days later, again I was awake with Andrew and a few friends, and this time I walked into the women's section, held onto the wall praying, and slipped the words of my prayer into a crevice. I looked up. Masses of yellow flowers cascaded out of the cracks, and I wondered what sort of answer my sown prayer would receive. What I did know is that as a child of God, as a believer in Jesus, he who is my chief intercessor was carrying my cries straight to the Father. And writing the words of my prayer brought the request into the light of his presence. And instead of holding it close until I was sick with the fear of it, it was now ours, God's and mine. What a relief to know my fear did not shock him, that he was not dismissing my pain, and that he would be fighting on my behalf. I was no longer alone in the dark with my fear. The Emmanuel was holding it with me.